It is week 4 of the fantasy season, and in this video we are going to be revealing some players that you got to be focusing on and paying close attention to this week. Now we're going to kick things off over in Philadelphia, where my beloved Eagles unfortunately are dealing with some severe injuries. For starters, they have officially already have rolled out wide receiver Devontae Smith. He was not able to clear the concussion protocol, and we're still up in the air on what's going to happen to AJ Brown. Now the AJ Brown situation is really interesting because when it was revealed that he was going to miss multiple weeks per AJ Brown himself, I more than assumed that he was going to come back after the bye week, which the Eagles have a week 5 bye, which means he would only be available to about week 6. However, this is really interesting. He was a limited participant on Friday, but things may change considering that this recording is taking place Friday night. One thing I will say is that the only receiver that I would even consider starting would probably be Jahan Dotson, but if you're at that situation, there probably are plenty of better options for you on the waiver wire. And with that, I will say that if you are looking to start any wide receiver or any pass catcher in that Philadelphia Eagle offense, you're only probably focusing on Dallas Goedert as well as Saquon Barkley. And the reason is that early on in this season, Tampa Bay has been really stingy against opposing wide receivers. They are a top 10 defense with allowing the fewest points to opposing wide receivers, and they've also been pretty good against opposing tight ends. But despite all that, I will still roll Dallas Goedert out with confidence, considering that the tight end position is rather thin. And I think with Saquon is quite obvious. You're going to start him, and I don't think there's much analysis to share other than that. Now, we're going to shift focuses over to Texas, where the Houston Texans are looking to get a more rejuvenated and more production from CJ Stroud. And it's tough to obviously critique him, considering that last week he went up against a very tough Minnesota defense that has been really good. But I will say this: they are now going to be facing the Jacksonville Jaguars, who have been abysmal this season. They have been abysmal against man, and they have been just terrible in general, and I believe that this scenario is going to help alleviate CJ Stroud as well as that offense over in Houston. And unfortunately, of course, we are seeing that Tank Dell is out, and we just saw that Joe Mixon could potentially still be out as well for a second straight week, which means that the Texans will deploy Cam Akers. But the upside though for this situation is that you are going to potentially see an explosive performance from both Stephon Diggs as well as Nico Collins. What I will say for Tank Dell is that this is another week that you can leverage his absence to be a excellent buy low candidate, whether you're playing in redraft or in dynasty. So see if you can get a good deal for the Texans wide receiver. Just when we thought that things could not get worse after Las Vegas had a terrible performance in week 3 versus the Carolina Panthers, they will be shorthanded on both defense and offense, with Max Crosby as well as Devontae Adams already being rolled out. But the focus here in Las Vegas for me simply comes down to the fact that you're probably going to overlook and pass Zamir White as well as Alexander Mattison, who have been really disappointing thus far this season. The only pass catcher that you're focusing on, other than of course Brock Bowers, is probably going to be Jakobi Meyers. Now the reason why I'm going to be focusing on Jakobi Meyers is because he has been 7th in routes run this season. He's been 14th in snap share as well as slot snaps among wide receivers. Jakobi Meyers is facing the Cleveland Browns, who have been a pretty good defense for the most part, but this game is slated to be one of the lower over-unders, at being only at 37.5, and I don't expect much. But if you are in a pinch, Jakobi Meyers, outside of Brock Bowers, is the only Las Vegas offensive player that I would look to start. I would highly fade any other running backs, unfortunately, until we see anything from those individuals. Week 4 will actually see the return of a young wide receiver in Minnesota, and that's going to be wide receiver Jordan Addison. We haven't seen the young wide receiver since week number 1, and he is slated to come back in week number 4, and he couldn't come at a much better time considering that the Minnesota Vikings have been rolling. Brian Flores has had that defense playing elite football, and of course, there is no overlooking the great success that Sam Darnold has been having early in 2024. Currently, Sam Darnold has been the QB5, and with the return of Addison, I think it's really important to review how solid Jordan Addison has been for the Minnesota Vikings. I know that there's some doubters that share how Jordan Addison was only solid because of the touchdowns that he saw last year. However, I believe that there's something still more to that. Last season in 2023, Jordan Addison was 7th among wide receivers in total route wins, and despite him being 5th in total touchdowns, he also was 12th in expected points added, which is also EPA. I think the return of Jordan Jordan Addison to this roster will be value added for them in a very crucial divisional matchup going up against the Green Bay Packers. Now, the last one I want to focus on is going to be a rookie, and this rookie is someone that I've been really excited about and still have faith in, and that player is wide receiver Vlad McConkey from the Los Angeles Chargers. I know he hasn't been all that great. I get it. He has had a very slow start. He currently is the wide receiver 51, but there's more than just what we're seeing right now. And it's so hard for me to overlook the fact that he's had a 29.3% target share to kick off the season. And I know that Justin Herbert is fighting every single opportunity to not miss this game. And I believe that Vlad McConkey is still someone that you should consider buying, especially as a buy low option in both redraft and dynasty formats, and someone that could have a pretty solid matchup because it's so hard for me to ignore that target share that he has there for the Chargers. So he, for me, is someone that you should be paying close attention to this upcoming week in week number 4. Hey, you made it to the very end of this video. Thank you so much for tuning in. Be sure to hit that like button if you found value in this video, and be sure to also subscribe. That way you can get up to date on all the news and information that is going all around the NFL to get you ready to dominate your 2024 fantasy football season. I have some more videos here on the channel that I believe will help you out, and I'll see you guys in the next one. God bless. Peace.